Join the Wide Whale team May 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern for part 2 of our 3-part virtual event series, Voice of the Resident. For part 2, we will look specifically at residency. Using AI topic analysis, we've analyzed the free text of 400,000 Google reviews from residents of hundreds of top multifamily groups, including the NMHC Top 50, to identify how often 50 key topics are mentioned by residents. By filtering for and analyzing the topics by life cycle stage, we can isolate which topics are more influential during residency, versus tour, or renewal. Go to widewhale.com/data to sign up or find it in the revised community. That's widewhale.com/data.
Hey everyone, we are back with another episode of the Unconventional Project. I'm your host, Vanessa Grayson, and I'm super excited to be speaking with another unconventional leader today who is so genuine and so authentic, so real, an incredible person that I've gotten the opportunity to get to know, I'd say really well in the past couple of years. So I think my first encounter with her is actually the year that I won Manager of the Year at AAKC's Crystal Merit Awards. Our tables were so close together, but something that really spoke to me and let me know that she was an incredible individual was honestly her reaction to me winning, because I was so shocked. But coming back to that table, she had the biggest smile on her face. Like, it was so comforting to know there's people out there that were rooting for me when sometimes I struggle to root for myself. So I knew it would be the start to something amazing, and we've continued to get to know each other along the way. But I have Tiana Heath with me today. Tiana is an incredible, well-seasoned professional in the multifamily industry, currently serving on the DE&I Commission of Parkville, which is super huge because this is actually long distance servant leadership that she's doing here, and I'll allow her to talk about that as well. But a former board member of the Apartment Association of Kansas City. And then I'm also going to let her share her big news of what she's doing now and where she's at. So I am so excited to welcome you, Tiana, and I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to sit with me and chat about equity in the workplace. It's a tough conversation, but I know we're ready for it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And wow, I remember that moment and I just knew. I was like, man, this is someone special because Crystal Maris is a huge deal in Kansas City. If you know, you know. And to see someone honored in that way uh, is always inspiring. So
Thank
I
you.
love it. I love it.
That
Oh,
means so much to me. Well, I want you to tell everyone about you. Like, you know yourself better than anyone else. I want them to be able to know you for who you are. So, who are you? What are you doing? Like, where do you like to spend your time and energy, and what are your passions? And I'll let you take it away.
Oh goodness. I have never really mastered talking about myself. So here we go off the cuff. First and foremost, I am a lifelong learner and a lover of our industry. This industry has given me so much, from lifelong friends that I've known 10 plus years to a career that I can be proud of. And not only that, a place to be really seen and heard. And that's what I hope to continue to promote about our industry. You know, there's very few places where you can go without necessarily, you know, a college degree and still earn six figures and have a really lucrative and productive career. That is dying in the United States. And the fact that more people don't know about this industry is just mind boggling to me. So I'm
Yeah.
here to shout it from the rooftops that there are spaces, there are places, and guess what? Your next leader looks just like us.
Words. Definitely, if you know, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yes. So I love that you shared that because I don't think I always say this industry is a hidden gem.
yeah.
I think if you ask so many people, we got sucked into this by like some awkward encounter or just like a random circumstance, and or like there was already someone sucked into the industry that then referred the next person. So I love that you mentioned that, because a huge part of my story is not having post-secondary education and not really understanding that, since I preferred not to take that route, what opportunities were out there for me. And I feel like the multifamily industry just like kind of gave me my place to be settled in, with the understanding that I could grow and I could thrive and I could be successful. I mean, my goodness, you mentioned like the opportunity to have a six-figure salary. And for a lot of people, we're just taught that that's not an option unless you're waving this piece of paper that cost you quite a bit of money to obtain. A lot of people think it's just not achievable. So I'm so happy that you shared that, which kind of brings us to the point of our entire topic today, as it relates to like equity. A better word for those who don't always have a strong grasp on the word equity is like opportunity in the workplace. So I want to understand kind of, maybe some experiences that you have had in terms of like equity in the workplace, whether they were positive or negative, and kind of like how they impacted you and your history in this industry.
Absolutely. I mean, full disclosure, I have my associate's degree, but that was something that I was pursuing, not really fully understanding what this industry could provide. And once I figured it out, I did not pursue my bachelor's. I went after my national credentials because
Mm-hmm.
those not only travel nationwide, but it means that you are serious and dedicated to what you're doing. And when you look at job ads, those are the things that people are looking for. They are looking for their CAM. They are looking for you to have your CAPS. They are looking for you to have your ARM. They are looking for those industry particular skills that, don't get me wrong, you can absolutely learn in a classroom. But if you're unconventional or want to take a different way, you can absolutely do that too. And as far as equity goes, I think not only showing that dedication, because obviously that is huge,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been lucky enough to work for national companies, national management companies, that offer me the opportunity to travel the United States and be a regional manager, something I'd never seen. Um, Being from the Midwest, if I'm being honest. And I didn't really realize it was possible until I joined this national management company and saw that they hired someone that looked like me. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
so this isn't a pipe dream, because representation matters. If you've never seen it before, how can you dream about you doing it?
Yeah.
And so to see that and to see that they would, for a lack of better terms, take the risk or take the leap, gave me hope as a district manager. I was like, oh, okay, I might actually be able to grow with this company. And grow I did through many different titles, taking a whole lot of different routes, landing in training and development and management, which was phenomenal because I always thought I'd be a teacher. That's what I was going to school for. And to end up being able to share that gift and see people light up, and not only receive chances, but be able to give those chances,
Mm-hmm.
has been instrumental in my career.
Yeah. That's huge. That's a huge part of it. I think, like you said, it's one thing to give it, or to receive it. It's another thing to be able or be in the position to even think about giving it, better yet, do it. I remember our Your Next Leader Looks Like Me panel, and one of the questions was like, if you don't see representation of yourself in the C-suite leadership, like, does that matter to you, or how does that impact like your view on your company? And we had a lot of mixed responses, but I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. Like, it is easier for me to kind of have the buy-in to the process and the dream and the potential that I have when I see people like me achieving that. And I know some, like, a bit of conversation that we had online is like where you're currently at and what you're doing. Like, there's just a high level understanding of having diverse teams, and the understanding that having diverse teams is more than physical attributes. It's how we think. It's what our life experiences are. So I want to know a little bit more about that, because I'm getting to experience what it's like to have probably the most diverse team that I've ever worked with and for. And it I'm not gonna lie, it was hard for me at first. It was so hard for me to understand um just the autonomy that we're given to think differently and feel differently, and it's not shamed. It's not a bad thing. Like, your life experiences are embraced, and it is very much that concept that we constantly talk about of everyone having a seat at the table. So I know you've had some experiences where that hasn't always been the case, but I would love to understand just kind of how that's altered your thought process now that you are able to experience something like that.
Absolutely. I think the most interesting thing is I never knew how much it mattered. I grew up in the Midwest, and what you kind of see is what you got. And I
Hmm.
knew that I was different in rooms, but I never really thought about it. And then I experienced that seat at the table, that equity, and seeing such diverse groups of people coming together and seeing how much we accomplished and how much we moved the needle forward because we were all together, because we
Hmm.
were all communicating. So when that particular experience ended, I knew that now this is something important to me. Like, I want to see this, because once you experience it, you can't go back. And I was looking at those job boards, and I was looking at the corporate profiles, and I did want to see at least some type of representation. Maybe it may
Hmm.
not be of diversity as far as race, but just diversity, period, which is
Yeah.
something that our industry is definitely taking head on. We've made some progress. I can't say that we haven't, uh, but could we make some more? Absolutely. And so I ended up at the National Apartment Association, which was a dream of mine. Like, I used to read Units magazine, which they put out on site, and look at the names and dream one day of maybe being there. And the fact that I am here now in Virginia, yes, I moved from Kansas City, Missouri to Virginia to take this phenomenal opportunity. I couldn't be more thrilled, because for once, meeting my idols worked out. Like, for once, it wasn't just hype. It wasn't just a far-fetched thing that you hope is kind of great. Like, you get there
Hmm.
and it's really great.
Yeah.
And just how they celebrate diversity of all kinds, and how you do get a seat at the table, and you are heard and seen in all different aspects. It
Yeah.
is exactly where I belong.
I'm so proud of you. I remember you sending me a text and you were like, "Can we talk?" And I'm like, "Sure." And you dropped this bomb on me, and instantly I just felt so proud. And I don't know if it's just because you left Kansas City on the highest note possible, and I want to dive into that, but I'll like park that for a minute. You left Kansas City at the peak of some incredible work that we had just done. And B, um, it was so inspiring for me to see someone that um, I know we have similarities in our thought process, and I know that some of our intentions align as well. To see you kind of take that next step and know that, like, I was like, okay, like, I'm going to pick this up and move this forward in Kansas City. She's going to do it over there at NAA. And like, we're still going to be making an impact, but to see the impact move cross country and just know, like, there's someone out there doing the work. Like, we see so many people out there doing the work, don't get me wrong, but like someone that I am close with, being able to do the work as well, and know that no matter where we are geographically, right? Like, we still have the same thought process in mind to kind of move this needle forward and continue these conversations about diversity and equity and inclusion, and just the impact that they have. I think the common thing is to associate it with race, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that, but like one day we can maybe sit and like unpack that all. But I want to talk about what we did in Kansas City, because you were like a lot of power and force behind what we were able to achieve. But for a little backstory, we had DE&I week in the Kansas City area. Our DE&I committee with the AAKC worked super hard on a panel presentation that consisted of all minority representation for the first time in 49 years, which is still crazy to say out loud. But I want to understand now that we've done that, and it's kind of, we prepared for it. It came, it went. Like, I just want to understand, like, how do you feel when you go back and kind of think about that? And what do you feel like having that open conversation did for those in the room? And what do you foresee it doing for the future of not only our local affiliate, right? But if everyone's having these conversations, how does that help with the progress of this topic?
So I'm going to be trite for just a second, but I literally saw people, I saw hearts and minds change. I saw the demeanor and how people interacted with myself afterwards change for the better. I will never forget, this gentleman came up to me afterwards and he's like, I always go to these things and I feel like crap. You know, I'm this white dude and everything I do is wrong and everything I've ever, always thought is wrong and heard is wrong. I left feeling better, with more understanding, and not feeling like crap. Thank you. Like,
That's
what?
huge.
All because I got up and shared stories, because we, not just I, we got up and shared our experiences and what we were going through just as people. It's probably some of the most relatable conversation that I've ever had in public, that goes to the true heart of who I am and what I was doing. And in a professional space, that is not taught. Like, you don't do that. You show up, you do your work, you stay professional, and you keep it about business. And this was not that. This was real conversation with real people going through real things. And it just goes to show you that you can be embraced if you have a story and if you can articulate it in such a way that is relatable. And we all have a relatable story.
Absolutely.
It's probably one of the things I'm most proud of, aside from my sister. And it's one of those things that I look back on and I'm like, I was in that room and shared something special. And oh man, I mean, I still get choked up thinking about it. That's just
I'm literally tearing up, because I think it is just one of those things. Like, first of all, there's not been an episode yet I haven't recorded where I'm not crying. I don't know what this is. Second of all, I feel it was one of those moments, like, you had to be there that day to really understand the level of vulnerability that was happening, just the level of courage that all three of our panelists had to have. And I remember planning out the questions to ask you all. And I remember being on the stage, and the question that I asked in particular was like how you got to where you got to, because I think it's really important for people to understand that not everyone's pathway looks the same. There are a lot of people that will just have doors fly right open for them, but there are a lot of people that have to put in an uncanny amount of time in certain positions. They're overlooked for their thought process, or what they feel, how they look, how they act. For a long time, we solely hired off the resume, and we stopped looking at the human in front of us and like humanizing the process of of who we hire. So I remember just looking at that and your name was beside it to only ask you. And I feel like if I had not made the decision to then ask Ricky, because I'm already choked up and I was like, oh no, we're just gonna like drill it in. I could read the room and I was like, oh no, we've got to go deeper. Like we're hitting it and now we just have to like keep going. So I remember Ricky giving his response and I saw the look on his face like, no, you did not just ask me this question. I felt so bad. But also I know that like we need that too. People with the experiences, we need to alleviate ourselves of those experiences. I feel like for me in particular, I bottle a lot of them up. I've most recently, obviously through the Unconventional Project and then just like sidebar conversations, have started to open up about just the pathway that I took. And it's not even just the pathway in this industry, it's life in general. That has altered my brain chemistry and just how I think about things or how I receive information, just kind of my outlook on life at this point. And we have to alleviate ourselves of that. And in doing so, we're also empowering the next person to, like you said, come back to the relatability component and for them to be able to see like, wow, I feel that wholeheartedly. I felt that way for so long. And I'm so happy to know that someone else went through that or felt that same thing. But then hopefully now they feel empowered to also share their story, which will hopefully do it for the next person. I think we're getting there with our level of vulnerability, but it goes back to what you said, just in terms of the professionalism component, like where do you draw the line? Because right now, so many companies still want you to show up, do business, mean business, and that's it. And like get your paycheck and go about your day. But we're missing the people who have passion and want it to be more than that, which ultimately I feel like drives your bottom line wholeheartedly. Letting people just be people themselves.
Absolutely. I would be the first one to say I always have a passion project or two going on. And it's not that my work isn't fulfilling, because it 100% is. But when I get to tap into that passion project, whether it's at work or not, which typically it's not, and that's fine, I show up as a better employee. I show up as a better leader. And maybe more importantly, I show up as a better person.
Yeah.
And that needs to be explored and celebrated, not relegated to the side.
Join the Wide Whale team May 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern for part 2 of our 3-part virtual event series, Voice of the Resident. For part 2, we will look specifically at residency. Using AI topic analysis, we've analyzed the free text of 400,000 Google reviews from residents of hundreds of top multifamily groups, including the NMHC Top 50, to identify how often 50 key topics are mentioned by residents. By filtering for and analyzing the topics by life cycle stage, we can isolate which topics are more influential during residency, versus tour, or renewal. Go to widewhale.com/data to sign up or find it in the revised community. That's widewhale.com/data.
Explored and celebrated. Celebrated. I feel like we're working to explore it. It's the celebration component. I think there are a lot of people that are so still against the celebration part, which is sad because I think we can. You don't have to agree, is the thing, but you should celebrate that person for who they are and what they feel, and but you know,
or respectfully disengage. But you don't
which is
have
fine
to
too.
a loud component of no. You don't have to be negative. You can just not. That's okay too.
Nope, I get it. My detachment game is strong. I
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I'm good, but thank you. And I think that's where that's where I know conversations still need to be had. Like something that you mentioned earlier is like, we're doing it, but could we do more? And I think this is a topic that will always need dialogue, because we're never going to perfect it. We're never going to get everyone on the same page. But I do feel like we're doing a better job of having the education component of equity, and just embracing that and celebrating that for our new generation coming in. I think there's just like a lot more tools and resources for them. And then we have incredible individuals just like making sure that their passion project is honing in on these conversations. Like, there's so many incredible women out there. You're a part of Melanin and Multifamily, is that right?
I sure am.
Yeah. You you ladies and now gentlemen, which is amazing, are doing an incredible job of just making sure that the message is consistent. It's a very vibrant message and a positive message to what you all are pushing across. I want to kind of hear your take on that, and what prompted you to join the group, and how are those initiatives going as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I am always searching for comfortable spaces. And I, yes, safe space, but it's more than that.
Hmm.
Um, don't get me wrong. I try to be as confident as I can in any room that I go into. And that does mean sometimes not going into the room.
Ooh,
Like, that is just simply what
ooh.
it is.
Pen and paper.
But I do seek out those spaces with like-minded individuals, and honestly, that started with the DE&I committee, and that started with the commission, and that started not too long ago, where I was actively seeking out those spaces where people in this industry were getting together and doing something great, because I
Hmm.
saw the type of impact it had on me, both professionally but more personally, on the association level, and I knew there were other rooms out there.
Hmm.
And so I found, that particular associate, well, not association, but that particular group. They were so very welcoming. And not only that, I saw the industry leaders that I admire from afar in that group. And I'm like, I just want to tap into that.
Hmm.
I want to see what's going on there. It's very easy to become almost isolated in your boat, or in your area. And the last couple of years, I've really just trying to expand my knowledge, expand my reach, because I feel a responsibility to do so. And I've seen some of the great things that come out of it when you do it, when you put in the work. And it's just something that a passion project that was put on my heart. And not only that particular group, but also, like, I would be remiss without mentioning Melissa D. White.
What a queen.
Okay, she
We
is the
love
one
Miss Mel.
that helped me find my voice. She got me activated. It is because of the work that I did with her and the work that I was doing in the industry anyways. I was like, you know what? It's time. It is time to use this voice. And
Yeah.
so I really hope that other professionals can feel seen and heard and understand that you're not alone. You may be the first one to walk through the door, but you won't be the last.
Mm,
There are others that walk through those doors and want to share their experiences with you so you don't feel so alone.
yeah. Woo. Why do I feel like we're on an activation call?
Now
I
that
just I
that is
just commented on a one of Miss Ty's posts, Auntie Ty. Listen, everybody's getting their flowers today, because she's really out here like being one of those people that are walking through these doors and turning back around to make sure she's holding the door open for the next person. So to the members of Multifamily, or Melanin Multifamily, and to Miss Mel and Auntie Ty, like, you all are absolutely incredible, and I'm so glad you're getting your flowers for all the work that you're doing. But I commented on one of Ty's posts recently and I was like, I miss these activation calls. Like, it was something, like you mentioned, a safe space is one thing, but like, we want to feel comfortable and seen and heard, validated. And I feel like looking at all the faces in those calls that would show up on the screen, like we were from every single walk of life possible. And I there were calls where I just like I got it and it clicked and it felt good and I felt just like the most empowered. And then there were some calls where I left the call and I'm just like, I have to sit with this for a minute. Like, and everyone felt so great about just sharing and making sure that they brought a level of vulnerability that may not have the reach that it had from the outside. But whew, the day Miss Mel brings back activation calls is the day I will um be so happy. I'm not gonna lie to you, like I loved those so much.
I'm with you. We get up in the morning, I'd be curling hair or drinking coffee or checking emails.
Because we're in a different time zone.
Well, tune in, tune in, tune in. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So I want to know from you. Like what are some of the things that you would say to people that are trying to bring more equity into their workplace? Like how would you challenge them to do so, or what thoughts or advice do you have for them who may not have as big or as powerful of a voice? Like what strides can they be making within their own organizations?
You know, this is going to sound really silly, but I swear it's tried and true. Just take an interest in the people around you. Have a real conversation. Truly not stop someone, but, initiate the conversation. And I know that sounds odd, but as the new girl in the workplace, and also as a remote worker for 5 years and hadn't really been to an office consistently in a lot of years, I had to try to figure out how to connect with people again that wasn't over Teams or Zoom or, those kind of artificial ways that we are connecting with people. And it is amazing what happens when you simply introduce yourself and ask someone about themselves or ask how their day's doing or what they do, and hopefully relate something not terribly personal, but just something. Just share something. It's those what people seem like ordinary conversations may mean the world to someone else.
Yeah.
So, I moved across country from a place I've been for more years than I'm going to mention because I don't want to date myself. And I moved here not knowing a single soul. It is me and my dog because I was chasing a dream. And what the people don't know that I work with is every time that they stop and say hello, every time we engage in a conversation, whether it's light or about the weekend or whatever the case may be, that is my connectivity. That is my socialization because I don't know a single soul. So if they don't know that they're filling my cup by just talking to me for a couple of minutes about the weather, but they are. So you never know what impact or influence that you may have on someone by having a simple conversation. Even if they're different from you, even if you don't think you have a common ground, even whatever. We are all human. There is something that you can connect to someone at any time. And once again, I'm going to be trite, but there is more that connects us than separates us. All you can do is just start with a hello.
Oh yeah. You don't know what you don't know what you don't know. Who says this to me all the time? I feel like it's Marcy. It's probably Marcy. You really don't you don't know what you don't know, and you're not going to know on what level you can connect. and what level that you can collaborate or create for future results unless you kind of take that leap. I so appreciate that you mentioned something that's just so small. Like small with the largest potential impact. I think we tend to think like this is a huge undertaking, and there are a lot of things about just equity and inclusivity in general that are literally just down to being a kind person and being a genuine person and
100%.
just being respectful.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. So I used to be one of those stuffy people. I used to be that person that came to work to do their job, and my personal and professional life were extremely separated.
Mm-hmm.
And two of my closest friends to this day have the same story about how they met me. And the story is they wore me down. Point blank period, because we worked together. And I'm like, wow, that says something about me. Got it. But what I have noticed is as I've been bringing more of myself, more of my authentic self to different audiences, whether it's professional or personal, people are starting to understand why those friends are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to understand me in a different way. And I feel like I'm making more connections with people. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what this is about. Whether you are helping someone find a home or leading a team to 95% occupancy or whatever you're doing, people are the connection. People are the through line. And I'm just happy that I suppose in my older age, I've gained some wisdom and insight and started making the connection. It's worth
Absolutely.
it.
I love it. I'm here for all of this. So my last question to you, which I've just kind of made it a point to end with this one, and I think it's proven true that this is like a very good one to end with. So if you could tell young Tiana absolutely anything in the world, from where you were then at any era or stage in your life, what would you tell her? And the takeaway is hopefully someone finds that relatability component, and is able to see you and all that you shared with us today and be able to resonate for their own benefit and their own gain. So I would love to know what you would tell young Tiana.
Ooh, she has two pieces of advice coming and she doesn't even know. First one is do not make a question mark where God has made a period. Sometimes it's just it. Sometimes it's just over. And you should accept messing around with that question mark. Woo, it can get you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And the other piece of advice would be do not make a decision on a temporary feeling when you think it's a permanent feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings are temporary. Situations are temporary. Where you are at is temporary. There is no reason to make a permanent decision because I tell you what, there are many times through my life where I could have been like, this is as good as it gets, oh well. Or this is as far as I'm going to get. That's fine. Persevering through has been one of the biggest blessings that I've ever had. And I can say honestly, it wasn't always just me. Sometimes it was my sister. Sometimes it was looking at her little face because she's 7 years younger than me and does have a face of a cherub. And really understanding that someone is watching.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're watching something good.
I probably needed to hear this more than anybody else.
I can talk all night about that relationship, my proudest and greatest achievement,
Mm-hmm.
and why she means the world to me, and why she will always be. And she always laughs at me because she's like, but you've achieved so much. I was like, honey, that's adorable and I love you. But no.
Mm-hmm.
You were watching.
I feel that so deeply. And the accolades are great. I think I just had this conversation recently with someone else, like the accolades are great. They, I feel like, are very much checkpoints when you have the opportunity to just kind of look back on your journey. And so I feel like the accolades constitute a checkpoint. But the real win is looking at the perception of those who are watching you, and getting to enjoy how they view you. Because half the time I still don't see myself that way, but they do. And I feel like that's where the real win comes into play. I always feel like I can do more and be more. And my children are over here thinking like I am the greatest thing to ever like walk the earth. I make no mistakes. I do no wrong. Like they have me on such a pedestal. And most nights I go to bed and I'm just like somewhere between I'm doing too much and I'm not doing enough. And but they are the win. They're the win wholeheartedly, getting to see how it is that they view me.
Absolutely.
And
I
your
will say,
sister's a sweetheart. Your sister's a sweetheart.
she is my best friend. She is the biggest pain in the butt. She is currently in my home wearing all of my clothes all over Kansas City, looking fabulous. At least I have good taste. But no, I mean, those times where I received an accolade and she was there, that is what I remember. And luckily,
Yeah.
she's in the industry. And, you know, as you said, last year was a complete high.
Mm-hmm.
Complete high.
Oh, yeah, you did that. I was front and center. Mm-hmm. Just up here, like,
It was everything. But to know
yeah.
that she was there at some of those seriously pivotal moments, and that is what sticks at me when I'm sitting here in Virginia trying to do something.
Good. Well, I know she's proud of you. I am so incredibly proud of you. I am more than blessed to be able to call you a peer and a friend. You're an incredible leader. So I have no doubt that you will take everything that you've done in Kansas City out there to Virginia. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you soon.
Oh,
So I know that you'll be in Philadelphia at NAA.
yeah, absolutely.
So really excited to see you there. And I'm so excited for everyone to be able to meet you. Not just us in Kansas City getting to reconnect with you, but for you to meet all these incredible faces that this episode is going out to. You deserve the recognition. You deserve those connections. And you absolutely deserve to keep impacting people. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd be remiss without saying congratulations to you. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see that. Someone's nominated for an award. That's all I'm going to say. I know who I'm voting for. You have lovely people in your category. But I can call you peer. I can call you friend. So sorry you have the vote.
I know nothing. No, I am grateful and I'm blessed. I don't get to be without the people around me. And so to know that over the past year, you've heavily influenced and inspired some of the work that I had an opportunity to be a part of, like it means the absolute world to me. And to just know that at any point, I know I can expect a text message to show up on my phone from you, just letting me know that you're rooting for me. Like it means everything to me. But kind of more so plays into like the Unconventional Project as a whole, and getting to have you here and just bring all of these moments for the both of us full circle, and to really shine light on people like yourself that are doing all of this incredible work. But you do it so humbly and you're just kind of like under the radar, and I want those people to be recognized. So I can't thank you enough for sitting with me and being vulnerable and having this conversation with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I can't wait to see everything that you're getting ready to do.
Thank you so much. This has been truly uplifting and enlightening, and very timely. So thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea.
Absolutely.
I will be shortly boarding a plane home for the weekend. And
Yay!
this was a wonderful way to come back.
Good. Well, I'm so glad. For all of you that are listening, you are listening to the Unconventional Project. Again, I am your host, Vanessa Grayson. This episode was absolutely phenomenal, and one that I will hold near and dear to my heart for quite some time. So until we are back embracing our authenticity and being real and raw, we'll have you back soon for the next episode with our next unconventional leader. We'll see you soon.